Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bill. We're going to be in the book In the Fantasy Trip in the Labyrinth by Steve Jackson Games. This video is continuing the spells videos. We are now on IQ 15 spells. So your wizard or non-wizard character, your regular hero characters, would have to have an IQ of 15 to even attempt to learn any of these spells. And if you're the wizard, you would learn these spells at 1 IQ point per spell. If you're a hero, you would spend 3 IQ points to learn one of these spells. So that would limit how many talents you could get for regular combat and just being a hero. So without further ado, let's dive into the IQ 15 spells. And there's a few of them here that are pretty long reads, and I'll let you know as I come to them. So the first one is a 7-hex image. Lets a wizard create an image occupying up to 7 connected hexes. Costs 4 mana. The next is a 7-hex shadow. Like a shadow spell, but affecting up to 7 connected hexes. Cost 3 mana. This one's going to be a long one. Astral projection. Lets wizards send his astral body to another place while he apparently sleeps. The astral body can go anywhere the wizard has visited or observed while not astral. Distance is no barrier. The astral body can observe events in other places for 1 hour. At the end of that time, it automatically returns. If the wizard has a staff, his astral body possesses an astral staff, having all the powers given in the staff spell. However, no other spells which may have been cast on his real staff carry over into the astral plane. Thus, he could not carry a lightning rod, for instance, with him. An astral body looks like the wizard's real body and appears to be dressed and armed the same way. A figure in the astral plane may look for traps, read open books, etc., just as though he were there in physical but insubstantial form. A wizard in the astral plane may cast a spell on himself or on another astral figure exactly as though he were physically present. However, if an astral figure wishes to cast a spell on any physical person or object, or use the occult attack of his staff, the strength cost is tripled. So the mana cost is tripled. Furthermore, a wizard in astral form cannot use the create gate or control gate spells at all. Combat between astral beings is handled exactly like combat between real creatures, except that there are no physical barriers on the astral plane, and no magic items except the staff can be used. Wizards can cast spells at one another, just as though the fight were physical. Other forms of combat also work. 2 astral figures can battle with weapons or hand-to-hand. An astral figure will have astral weapons identical to the real ones he was carrying, but they will not have the magical powers, if any, that the real ones did. Nothing in the physical plane except a dazzle spell or a word of command can affect the astral body. In fact, an astral body cannot communicate with a physical being except by telepathy. The mana cost for telepathy is the ordinary cost, not the tripled one. Pentagrams, wards, and other magical protections will stop an astral body. A physical being cannot observe an astral body in any way except by magic sight. Detect life will detect nothing. Detect enemies or a ward spell will warn that something is present, but that's all. An astral body that has the mana that its possessor did immediately after the spell was cast. Mana lost by the astral body due to spells cast, wounds, or anything else is also lost by the physical one. An astral body cannot draw mana from a power stone or from the aid spell cast by a physical being. He can use the drain strength spell or drain mana spell at normal cost, but only on a willing subject. Death of the astral body kills the physical body, and vice versa. Costs 10 mana. The next spell is Calling. The caster of this spell can attract the closest being of any specified kind, as long as it is not more than a few miles away. The creature called will move towards the wizard as fast as it can without putting itself in severe danger. Its reaction when it arrives at the wizard is not modified by the spell. So if you call a saber-toothed tiger, you better be ready to deal with it when it appears. The wizard can call any creature of a type he has encountered before. If no creature of the type called is within range, the GM may, at his discretion, substitute a similar type, especially if the wizard's die roll was good. Mana cost 5. Create Gate. Allows the wizard to make a gate. The gate will follow whatever rules the wizard specifies at the time he starts the gate, within certain limits. Basically, the rule is limited to the things that the caster could perceive if he were personally standing at the gate while reviewing the character stats of the passerby. Some specific rules that are always allowable will only never pass a specific person or someone accompanied by specific persons. A gate can handle an arbitrarily long list of names but cannot detect, for instance, bloodlines or guild membership. Will only / never pass wizards or woodsmen or males or goblins or those with a strength above 14. Will only pass someone who carries a specific token. That would be your guilds and stuff. Will only pass someone who says the password, which would also have its limitations there, which could be very good. Multiple rules are allowed, so you could build a gate that would only pass female goblins who said the password. Cost to build a gate is 100 mana plus 100 mana, and it's broken down as 50 when one end of the gate is set up and 50 when the other is set up. The wizard must travel to the site of the other end of the gate in order to finish the job. Once the gate is finished, the wizard cannot change it unless he knows the control gate spell, which is an IQ 18 spell. Giant Rope. A strong version of the rope spell. Cast on a creature of strength 20 or more, it has just the same effect as the ordinary rope spell has on a human. Cast on a weaker creature, it has the effects of 2 simultaneous rope spells, which must be removed one at a time. Costs 5 mana for 12 turns, and 5 for each further 12 turns. Hammer Touch. This is a thrown spell. The subject of this spell can thump a person, door, or other object with his fist, doing 1 die of damage for every point of mana that was put into the spell. The spell lasts 3 turns. So the subject of a 4-point hammer touch would be able to deliver 3 4-die punches, 1 on each of the next 3 turns. This spell is useful for hand-to-hand combat or for breaking down doors, but cannot be effectively combined with the unarmed combat talents or the magic fist spell. The subject of the spell will not be hurt no matter what he hits, unless he rolls a 17 or 18, and then he takes 1 die of damage himself. Iron Flesh. This is a thrown spell, similar to Stone Flesh, but better. Lets a subject's body stops 6 damage per attack. Costs 3 mana plus 1 per turn. The next spell is Mega Hex Avert. It is a thrown spell, like the Avert spell, but cast on the occupants of a whole Mega Hex at once. That is, any hex and all hexes adjacent to it. If the spell works, every figure in the Mega Hex is under an Avert spell, as above. Costs 3 mana to cast plus 1 each turn the spell is held. So, if you're not familiar with a Mega Hex is, you could easily do this with grid 2, but in a hex map, you have your center hex, then all surrounding hexes around it. So if you were doing this as a threat in combat, all hexes touching it would make up that mega hex. So everyone within essentially a 15-foot area would be in the mega hex. Here's another long one, not quite as long as the astral projection, but pentagram. Creates a magical barrier that keeps out occult influences. A pentagram is a 5-sided figure, but treat it as covering 1 megahex. A pentagram will act as a spell shield to stop any magical attack from outside the megahex. It will also stop images, illusions, and summoned beings. And it will prevent scrying. The only thing it will not stop is a totally natural thing, such as a purely physical attack by a non-magical creature. Cost 5 mana to cast, plus 1 for each turn it is maintained. The catch: it takes 3 full turns to draw the pentagram. If the wizard is disturbed while drawing it, he loses 1 mana and must start over. 2. When the first attack is made against the pentagram, the wizard who drew it must make a 3-dice saving roll against his IQ to see if he drew it correctly. If he misses the roll, the pentagram is faulty and offers no protection. It is also possible to summon a demon into a pentagram. If the pentagram holds, everyone outside its perimeter will be safe. A demon cannot fight or run errands from inside a pentagram, but it can provide information or grant wishes. However, the pentagram does not protect the wizard against the battle of wills required to earn a wish, because the wizard himself initiated the contact. So some things to think about. I think the only wish spell in the game is from demons. So that said, you could always introduce genies and whatnot. So keep that in mind as well. Regeneration is a thrown spell. Regrows all missing parts of the subject and restores full health. Requires about a week of bed rest to take effect. Does not help the dead. Does not offset aging. Does not affect mental problems except those directly caused by an injury. So somebody that was bashed in the head and is loopy because of it, this would fix it. The effect of the concussion would be healed. The effect of seeing Great Cthulhu would not. No magic item is known. There might be a potion, but it would be a very costly and take just as long to act. Cost 30 mana to cast this spell. Staff 4, Staff of Power. Like Staff 3, except the attack is a free action. The wizard may use the staff's strike along with any option, including attacking, running away, or using the staff as a physical weapon. However, if the staff is used as a weapon, its occult strike must be directed at the same target. Next is Summon Small Dragon. Brings a small 4-hex dragon, strength of 30, dex of 13, IQ of 16, movement allowance of 6 on the ground, movement allowance of 16 in the air. Its breath does 2 dice damage. Its claws do 2 dice minus 2 damage. Its armor stop 3 hits. Now, wherever I'm naming dice, the only dice in this game really is d6s, and percentile and d6s are what you roll for everything. So we'll go back and we'll use the reference. So its breath weapon does 2d6 damage. Its claws do 2d6 minus 2 damage, and its armor stops 3 damage every time it's hit. And it will follow the wizard's orders. Cost 5 mana plus 1 each turn the small dragon stays. Teleport. Instantly blinks wizard to another hex. He may choose any facing hex he likes in the new hex. You cannot teleport into a solid object. Illusions count as solid. Images disappear. Costs 1 mana for each megahex distance transported. So unlike D&D and Pathfinder, this teleport is very limited on where you can go because of just how much mana it's going to cost to transport you pretty far. So this is not your let's travel great distances spell. Unnoticeability. It's a thrown spell. As its name implies, this spell makes its subject hard to notice. He is not invisible, so dark vision, mage sight, etc. are of no help. He is simply very easy to overlook. Anyone who would normally see, hear, smell, etc., an unnoticeable figure, must make a 4d6 roll versus their IQ. Failure to make the roll means that they will never realize he is there. They will not look, walk, or fire missiles in his area unless absolutely necessary. Even if they bump into him, they won't realize he's there if they had missed their IQ roll before. Figures in battle roll one more die to notice. So you're rolling 5 dice. Ooh. Figures with alertness or acute hearing roll one less d6 for each of the talents they own. If an unnoticeable figure attacks someone, the person attacked will notice it. Once you notice an unnoticeable figure, you can see it clearly, but those who have not noticed it must still make a roll to see it, even if you point at it. They may decide you're insane. The mana cost is 3 to cast, plus 1 each turn it is maintained. And that ends the IQ 15 spells. And I really like that spell. That gives me lots of ideas for a thief or a wizardly thief to use that to get around. So let me know what your favorite spell out of the IQ 15 spells was in the comments below. Until we all game again, guys.